Hey guys, this is your Ablative Absolute worksheet number 2. I'm going to walk you through how you can do the translation when your Ablative Absolute phrase makes a Latin sandwich, okay? By now you should have watched the Ablative Absolute notes video that I posted. If you have, awesome, you're ready for this assignment. If you have not, you need to go and watch that before completing this assignment. All right, so let's take a look at this first problem. This one I did for you guys. The first word, milite, I've highlighted in blue. In the last word, amante, I've also highlighted in blue. The words highlighted in blue here are the ones that compose the actual ablative absolute, or the frame, or the sandwich, right? The bread and the sandwich. Everything else that's in between is going to be translated as part of the phrase, but it belongs with the ablative absolute. So, for example, milite amante, we learned in our first video that the noun is going to take the subject role and the participle is going to take the verb role. Let's examine the rest of the phrase and see what's going on. Filium here is accusative, which means it's going to be the direct object. And regis is genitive, so this in this case is a genitive of possession, possessing filium. If I'm doing my literal translation, again, I start with, and then I would translate as if it were a subordinate clause. So with the soldier as our subject, loving, present active participle, the king's daughter, or the daughter of the king. Okay, so and again, in that case, I translated milite as the subject, the participle as the verb, filium as the direct object of the participle, and regis as the genitive. If I were to make that causal, I would say because the soldier loves the king's daughter. Temporal, while the soldier loves the king's daughter. Contrary, although the soldier loves the king's daughter. Okay. You're going to do all of the rest of these on your own, but I'm going to walk you through some tips and tricks to figure out what's going on. If I look at number 2, Carthagine a Romanis deleta, if I look at my participle deleta, I can figure out that that is a perfect passive participle. When I have a perfect passive participle and the preposition a ob, that phrase is likely to be an ablative of agent, because in a passive sentence, the subject, Carthagine, is receiving the action of the verb, deleta. However, the action is being performed by someone else. Okay? Same thing here, imperio quibus a duce uso. Uso is perfect passive. So I have a phrase with a ob in it, likely to be an ablative of agent. I will tell you that quibus is dative. You can figure out the dative case use there. Number 4, quibus regem malum ex urbe pellentibus. Now in this case, in the last phrase, we just had quibus as a dative, and in this phrase, it's going to be ablative. We know that because it's part of our ablative absolute frame, okay? Regem malum ex urbe. That one's pretty straightforward. You guys should be able to figure that one out. Number 5, regibus a vulgo eoda expulsis. Again, we've got a passive participle and a phrase using the preposition a ob. The tricky part here is this phrase eoda. Right before we transition to online school, we talked about a case use called ablative time when. Ablative time when is used to describe the time when something occurs. So the translation should include a preposition such as on, like on this day, or on that occasion, something like that, to describe when the action is happening. Or another example would be at 3 o'clock, the bell will ring, something like that. That's the time when the bell will ring. If we're looking at number 6, viris munera sua accipientibus, this one is also pretty straightforward. If you do not remember the word munus muneris, it comes in chapter 14 of your Jenny's vocabulary. And then remember, suus, sua, suum is a reflexive possessive adjective, meaning that it's referring back to the subject. And even though here viris is in the ablative case, remember that with ablative absolute, we translate the ablative noun as the subject. So this is talking about the munera of the viris. Fabula liberis a parentibus narrata. Okay, same deal, passive verb. Hopefully by now we know what's going on there. Liberis here is referring to children. And last but not least, sacerdotibus deos laudantibus. That one is also pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, please either email me, come to office hours, or write them on the Chapter 24 questions document, and I will get back to you.